In horror, drama, and even comedy, we are used to being lulled into a false sense of security before something shocks us. But today, I'm talking about being lulled into a false sense of fear before realizing you're safe. You are bracing for impact the entire time, but the shock is that the jump scare never comes. Here's an added layer. The animation looks like this. We have a lot to talk about.
You're videotaping the show. I do.
Butt lovers, welcome to my channel. It's so good to see you. Here we love overanalyzing. In my series Familiar Feud, we compare shows that give off a similar vibe, and we also love noticing underutilized tropes. Today's topic, as you saw from the title, is looks like gross out is actually heartwarming. Not to be confused with something like the series Angel Hair, which is described by the creator as wholesome horror. The suspense and drama are real, it just doesn't take as dark of a turn. It's horror where hope and heart still shine through. That is not what we're talking about today. Today we are talking about the Adult Swim show Ha Ha You Clowns, and Eternal Family's The Family. The visuals play a part in making your shoulders go up to your ears. There's tension, and the writing and sound design also play into this extremely uncomfortable feeling. It would be like if I Kubrick stared at you while a suspenseful crescendo played, but instead of something terrible happening like what you were expecting, I instead showed you my 3 adorable cats being sweet and silly. Aww. Using horror elements to evoke a fear response at something pretty much completely harmless, and in fact positive. It's all about subversion. Like when you went into this video and I was yapping for so long, I bet you didn't think I'd have a sponsor, but I do. I went to Canada 3 times in the last 3 years, and the first 2 times I completely forgot to get an eSIM. No! If you've ever traveled out of the country, staring at your phone, wondering why nothing works, you need connection, you can't find Wi-Fi anywhere, you understand what a difference a local SIM can make. The first 2 times I traveled to Canada, I had to get a SIM in the airport, super overpriced. I needed to swap physical SIMs, but things are made a lot easier with today's sponsor, Saley. With Saley, you just choose a data plan, install it on your phone, and you're all set. You'll have internet wherever you go, significantly reduce and even eliminate roaming fees with an affordable eSIM plan in over 200 locations. Every time you shop on Saley, you earn Saley credits. Instantly apply them to save on your next plan. And you can also get a full refund if your device isn't eSIM compatible. Now I have my North America eSIM ready to install the next time I'm going to Canada or Mexico. Or the United States, but my plan is here, so. Get an exclusive 15% discount on Saley eSIM data plans. Download the Saley app and use my code AthenaP at checkout. Thank you so much to Saley for sponsoring this video. Ha Ha You Clowns came out in 2025. I avoided it for a bit, thinking it would be similar to YOLO Crystal Fantasy. Nothing wrong with that, it's just, I looked at the poster and thought to myself, I've seen this before. Quite literally judging a book by its cover. You know what they say? Don't do that. The first episode starts with our 3 teenage boy main characters watching this hideous movie. Christ. Totally not a parody of James Cameron's Avatar, if that's what you were thinking. This is one of the boys' favorite movies, to the point where they are quoting it under their breath.
Today is all we have.
The setting of Ha Ha You Clowns is described as every town USA, and this just proves it. Avatar is America's favorite movie. Don't ask me why. The boys' girlfriends are watching and comforting them, but the boys are just thrilled that their dad is enjoying the movie too. Until the makeout scene makes Pops very emotional, and he leaves. The boys let their girlfriends and us, the viewers at home, know that dad has not been the same since mom passed away. And they use the words passed away, not only implying faith, but also to soften the language used around death. This is still very new to all of them, and these 4 men want to be strong for each other. This show has the classic setup of a very special episode / tearjerker. Speaking of, every time these characters are about to cry, they immediately have extremely bloodshot eyes. It looks very gross, and it catches me off guard every time without fail. After the title card, the boys are outside around their mother's she shed, the opposite of a man cave. Very cute, I chuckled. I should tell you the three boys' individual names, even though they oftentimes have a hive mind and are identical aside from the hair. This is Preston. He's the blondest and oldest. Tristan is the middle child, and his hair is like a mix of the youngest and oldest. Right in the middle, a dirty blonde or light brunette, you decide. And the reddish brunette is Duncan, the youngest child. Great, now watch me forget. Older brother Preston always acts like the leader of the group. And what do leaders do? They give very straightforward camp counselor-ass advice. Don't forget to stay hydrated. What would we do without you, Preston? It's so obvious. I kid, but it's actually really good advice and really easy to forget. Duncan, the youngest, decides to take care of their mom's flowers.
Please remember to water them, Duncan.
I love obvious foreshadowing. I eat it up every time. The boys try to cheer up their dad with his favorite movie, and once again, a romantic moment makes him, oh my god, those bloodshot eyes again. The boys are truly disturbed at their dad's inability to finish a movie. They are really bad at taking a step back and realizing the very obvious pattern here. It's very amusing that this goes over their heads once you see how much they care. Preston asks his co-worker at this Costco-like warehouse what the heck is going on here, and she says old people have trouble staying awake. She's not wrong, but it's clear she's missing some context. I'm gonna play you a scene from this interaction because this is the sweet shit I'm talking about.
If I look half as good as you two ladies at your age, I'm gonna be thinking my lucky stars.
You cannot tell me that isn't cute. If you even try to tell me that isn't cute, I'll call you a liar and never talk to you again. I love how much he confides in his coworker that's old enough to be his great-grandma. I feel like teens can easily dismiss the elderly. And here we see a generational bond that's all too uncommon nowadays. I'm crying, this is what crying looks like. Every time the boys have a heartfelt conversation, this music swells in the background. Much like real sitcoms where grief is the driving force, they lay it on thick as their necks. Everything comes to a head when they try to bond with their dad by sheer force. Preston gave his dad a lot of caffeine without him knowing, so he can stay up late and not abandon their movie nights. Preston, what the flick? Very bad. He even admits he spiked his dad's drink, so he knows the severity of giving someone a mind-altering substance without their knowledge. In this moment of confession, Duncan also admitted he overwatered their mother's flowers. And the ones outside are fake. He replaced them. Overcorrecting, overloving, brute forcing something that requires time and patience. Very on-the-nose symbolism for the grieving process. Their dad doesn't lecture them about honesty or even scold them. He sees his boys in obvious distress and tells them their mother would be proud of them. Then the scene ends with one of my favorite things about this series. The boys make a very bad non-joke, and they all laugh way too hard at it for way too long.
I've made a real mess of movie night, haven't I? I don't know. The green blob kind of enhances the movie, actually. We find out the green blob is actually zombie blood or something. They should rename the movie Dad the Zombie Killer.
I don't even care that it's not funny. They're laughing, I'm laughing. I'm sorry. Fuck you. Yes, there are blatant, unaddressed problems, but forgiveness and trying to power through an obviously very difficult time and make every memory as good as they possibly can is a priority for them right now. And can you blame them? In many family dynamics, it is not uncommon for most of the emotional labor and deep conversations to be initiated by the mom. So there's the added layer of not just the deep despair they feel, but also them getting used to this new dynamic and trying to use tools they've never used before. The episode ends with a handprint appearing on the window of their mom's she shed. She is watching them and she really wants to reach them. She sees their struggle and she wants to help. Despite being a parody of cheesy family drama comedies, there's still a lot of genuine heart here. The characters are far from perfect, but you just can't help but root for them. The only only other series I've seen that's able to capture this uncomfortable energy while presenting nothing but a family who loves each other so much is Eternal Family's The Family. One of the creators, Cole Kush, describes his work as finding bizarre in the mundane, which is a perfect way to describe this miniseries. I watched this back when it came out in 2021, and the uncanny visuals are unlike anything I've ever seen. I love trippy art, but nowadays, unfortunately, people associate this style with AI. We are living in a terrible timeline, so I had a voice screaming in the back of my head, make sure you can support your claim that this series isn't AI! Especially because information on this project was really hard to come by for some reason, beyond the description crediting the creators and voice actors. I searched and at first I didn't find anything besides the very impressive resumes of the creators, plus the fact that they're both animators and creators of the artist-run streaming service Eternal Family. So I thought we were in the clear until I stumbled across this article that mentions the creators using AI vaguely. I'm not gonna lie, my mind jumped to the worst case scenario, but I didn't want to be a hypocrite because back in 2021, 2022, I didn't know the negative impact and just thought this tech would be used for stupid shit posting, so I know people can change once they have more information, just like I did. Also, I didn't even know if what they used was generative. There are tools that have existed forever that are just relabeled AI, and this repackaging is just for investors to throw money at. So maybe that's the case? I reached out to Cole Kush, thinking that getting a response would be a long shot, but instead I got a very lengthy and thorough response, which I really appreciate. Super grateful that he shared this with me and cleared a lot of questions up. So thankfully, all the characters were created by humans. No generative AI in the character designs. Everything you are seeing on screen is human-made. Let me just read a bit of his response. I had the initial idea for the family a few years before making it. For some reason, I was thinking about a Family Guy parody, and the only thing that seemed interesting to me was to make an extremely wholesome show about a family that is truly opening up and expressing their love for each other for the first time. Also, they happen to look like Family Guy characters, but sound nothing like them. I had been working a lot with Uncanny 3D at the time, and so I started creating all the characters in 3D. I think Cinema 4D and DAWs, and doing some vocal tests, but the idea just kind of sat there while I worked on other things to pay the bills. Then in 2020, I had an idea to start a lo-fi original streaming project called Eternal Family, and needed some show ideas, so I decided to try that out. I wrote a short script with my pal Dan Straight, and at the time we were playing around with this iPhone app called Avatarify, which allowed you to control the face of any image with your camera. It looked truly awful, but was making us laugh and was an interesting feel combined with the upsetting 3D design, so we went with it. I believe the app tech was AI powered in some capacity, but that was basically the only AI in the original series aside from a bit of experimental VQJAN visuals in the dream sequence at the end of one of the episodes. So the only thing that was generative AI was this dream sequence. That's actually how I found out that this scene in Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, one of my favorite TV shows, is also AI generated. And I know you're probably thinking, Athena, how did you not know? I still have to rewire my brain to really question everything I'm seeing, because before 2021, I just appreciated all sorts of trippy art that did look sort of like this. I mean, AI had to train off something. The Avatarify literally stretches the mouth. See, this isn't what I think of when I think of AI. This is like a TikTok filter. It's tracking the movements of the mouth and making it stretch. It's not trying to replace or imitate intricate animation. You could tell there's a sort of filtery effect on the mouths. It just stretches the mouth in all sorts of trippy and grotesque ways. He also goes on to say that his relationship with AI changed. He doesn't use it at all nowadays, not only because of the obvious negative impact, but also because the visuals are just super boring. I figured that their careers took this turn because Dan Straight and Cole Kush made a music video for A$AP Rocky back in 2022, I believe, that had AI generated visuals, but Dan Straight worked with him again in 2026, a music video that just came out in 2026 for A$AP Rocky, and and they were very quick to clear up any concerns. No AI. We do not use AI. So it's clear that they're veering away from this tech, as it has kind of turned into a cancer. Not to put words in his mouth, I described it that way. I can't help how I feel. I like my shows made by man! And he also explained to me that Eternal Family has developed into a hidden gem video store vibe, so he's been working to preserve old human-made media. Love that. You know I support that. Everyone say thank you, Cole Kush, for explaining. He did not have to take time out of his day to explain to me, but oh my gosh, it just put my mind and heart at ease because I love the family and I can't wait to talk to you about it if you'll allow me. This series is a lot shorter than Haha You Clowns, and you can watch the whole thing in just 23 minutes. Just by looking at it, you can see what show it's parodying. It is Family Guy, but if they took the theme song seriously. Where are those good old-fashioned values? The visuals are absurd. It's freaky, it makes me queasy. I love it, honestly. I wrote this in my script before I got Cole's email, but I was trying to explain the movement of the mouth. Right here, I wrote, it looks like they took the motion of real faces and put them on static images. Their teeth shrink and stretch. It looks like motion capture, but without a model that can mimic the movement. And that's exactly what it is, and I'm so smart, actually. The opening is of all of them smiling at each other as their eyes dart around the table. Sentimental music plays in the background. Which design makes you the most upset? Me personally, I gotta go with Brian. He has 2 sets of ears, no tail, and a full-blown human ass. He looks like he was cast in the unofficial Cat sequel called, you guessed it, Dogs. Wow. We get a super high-definition shot of some sort of fish dish being stabbed with a fork, followed by some very rich, creamy spaghetti being twirled. Amazing way to start this show, because I am equally mad, disgusted, and hungry looking at this. It looks delicious and nauseating. Do I crave it, or am I gonna vomit? It is an emotional illusion. I don't know how to feel. As the family talks about their appreciation for each other, these synths swell. They frame this sweet exchange as psychological horror. The way the camera sways, the music, as I already mentioned, their shifty eyes, the way the out-of-focus characters turn into static, everything about it gives off the vibe you woke up at 3:47 a.m. and accidentally left Adult Swim on the TV. It's a very specific confusion. You feel like you're hallucinating, but no, this was not made by your sleep-deprived brain. This was made by somebody else on purpose. I love that there's a brief moment where the characters are just as confused as we are.
I really, really appreciate this.
Okay.
And I'm just terrified that it's going to be gone before we know it.
You're not going to be gone that soon. Are you trying to tell us something? Am I supposed to be worried?
It's incredibly real. Vulnerability is oftentimes very uncomfortable. We're taught to stray away from it. But this scene, minus the absurdity, is just a father expressing how much he loves his family and how he wants to spend more time with them. This is the first of many parallels between the family and Haha You Clowns.
Truth is, Tristan, I am scared. I'm scared of this family falling apart.
We're all passing through this life at such a fast speed, and I'm just terrified that it's going to be gone before we know it.
That's such an honest and real feeling. When you love someone and care about them that much, it's scary. Lois talks about how they should all be more grateful, and that is when we finally get Stewie chiming in.
What the hell is even that?
He's still very British, but a completely different flavor of British.
I have a long life ahead of me, and I'm afraid that once Meg and Chris eventually go off to college, we'll grow further apart.
His voice is lower and a lot less musical. His proportions, however, are exactly the same. His football head, how small his face is on this enlarged head, I had to power through that. But when my attention was drawn to his ears, I was taken out, man. Staring at his ears for a moment made me existential. It made me think about Disney's let's live action everything approach. Because this mega corporation's unoriginality gives off the same terrible feeling as staring at this non-evil Stewie's fucked up ear. Every time Stewie talks, he reminds us of his age. His dialogue can be summed up as, since I'm the youngest, I'm very concerned about insert existential concept an infant would have no knowledge of, such as his his family not being here one day. But Chris assures Stewie they'll never be apart because he's taking his baby brother to college. We have my favorite cheesy family thing, which is, of course, laughing really hard for really long at extremely unfunny shit. This paired with Brian completely being overlooked, I was wheezing.
Well, Stewie, that's not going to happen because I've already decided that I'm taking you with me when I go to college.
I want to come. Can I come?
I'm holding you to that.
We cut to them on their iconic lilac couch watching a nature documentary together. Meg points out the beauty of a mother's love, and Brian praises Lois for how great of a mother she is to him as well. The extra layer of comedy is, of course, knowing how the original characters are, because it is the exact opposite. As you probably know, the original, less human-looking Brian actually has a huge crush on Lois, and Meg is completely shut down and abused by her family. It's sweet this isn't the case here, because isn't this what we all want? A mother's love? Let's take a look at the comments. Nerfed the hell out of Lois? What? She loves her kids now. What could Brian be talking about? Obviously, the producers of this post live in a cave. Young male fans of The Family Guy see Lois as a hot babe. Check the Rule 34 sites. Honest. Riveting commentary from the lads as usual. Way to digest something fun and shit out the stinkiest take imaginable. I do like that everyone in the comments also noticed that there was a much nicer shut up Meg. It's a good faith bit here that they once again laugh at for an eternity.
We're missing the movie.
Oh, God, I love you guys.
At the end of the day, Lois praises Peter in a very earnest way, but the words sound so strange. I guess it's because it's so idealistic and sappy, but it's also kinda redundant. You got some special powers there, Mr. Superhero. They ramp up the weirdness every scene. Once Peter says, "I love you, Lois," we then see Stewie and Brian listening through their bedroom door, and I felt a sense of deja vu. I'll show off more similar scenes later, but back to Brian and Stewie eavesdropping on the best marriage of all time. When I saw these two brothers embrace for the first time, I jumped out of my skin. I was expecting the worst. I was really scared that at the very last second, they'd go full out classic Family Guy, shock out humor, haha, this familial relationship is weird. I thought they were like making out for a second, but no, it's just a sweet hug, and the only thing upsetting about this is the man shape of Brian. I'm body shaming, and how dare I, honestly. I will make amends. It's a me. Be honest, how many of you shit yourself? No, I kid. I'm a good boy through and through. And I am beautiful. In here. I can't do a full video looking like that. No one would watch, but the sentiment still stands. The second episode opens up with Peter trying to be deep about the weight of responsibility and the value of taking care of something by giving Chris this plant. And much like an actual teen, he's pretty snappy at first.
Dad, it's a plant that you bought at the hardware store. I mean, what do you expect from me?
Okay, I don't expect you to understand right away.
But eventually, Papa Peter gets through to him, promising a discussion about a family vacation if he can be the sole caretaker of this fern. And how fern is that? The family in the family would have laughed at that for a solid 30 minutes. Then we have the family playing a board game together. We have some lighthearted, competitive roasting, but I assure you it's all in good fun. Don't worry. When Chris wins the game right after Meg bragged that she's the best at it, she even says, "Dang it." We love banter. Peter, the Family Guy Griffin, answers the phone and it's who else but Quagmire, bro. This episode mostly follows that phone call. Despite Quagmire being creepily in the dark and stuck in this cunty pose. This is also how I talk on the phone. It's natural and beautiful. Despite all that, he is also, thankfully, nothing like the Family Guy version. Just for the sake of spelling everything out, the Family Guy's Quagmire is a creep, a sexual predator, a truly evil person. He should run for president.
Shut the hell up, bitch.
Here, in the family, there is nary a giggity in sight. Instead, we have, as always, true communication and connection. Quagmire thinks he's in love with a girl he met. Peter is over the moon for his friend. He's never heard him talk like this before. And when the topic of sex does come up, he's so shy about it.
I mean, this might be a little crass, but I'm a little worried about the bedroom.
I don't mean to be crass. I love this alternate universe. Peter, being the sweet soul he is, gives incredible advice. He talks about the different phases of a relationship and how it strengthens beyond the honeymoon phase, beyond the excitement of getting to know someone. He stares at his wife Lois as he talks about this transcendent bond. And while the comments are raging that they're no longer attracted to Lois, she doesn't care, because this Lois is in a beautiful and fulfilling relationship. They have a beautiful marriage. She doesn't care about your lack of boner. Throughout this whole conversation about investing time in different relationships, we see the characters have Shark Tank on their TV, a show about a different kind of investment. Subtle foreshadowing that the issue of money will come up in episode 3, the series finale. Episode 3 starts and we have a plant update! I know you were all on the edge of your seats wondering if Chris took good care of this plant. He did. Lois is showing Brian and Stewie all the bugs on this plant, and we get this Animal Planet-ass close-up. This is an indoor plant. How are there that many bugs? Ew. Dogs eat bugs, so it shouldn't have surprised me when Brian just stuck out his tongue and wow, look at that human mouth. Super cool. Chris even snaps at him for trying to eat his aphids.
Don't you want me to get rid of them?
No, I'm actually planning to replant it in the backyard where the aphids will attract, like, beneficial insects.
Chris is definitely the snappiest. When Meg comes in asking about the vacation they were supposed to get out of this, Chris very subtly scolds her and feels morally superior because obviously mom and dad are having money troubles. I mean, good God, have you even considered? Have you tried having empathy for once in your life, Meg? Lois goes on to say how the kids shouldn't be worried. That's their job. Huh, where have I heard that one before?
The last thing I want you guys to do is worry. That's my job.
Preston, you're not their mom. We are almost done with the last episode of The Family. After that money talk, we cut to them on vacation and they're reined in. All of them are understandably bummed out, but they once again value each other's company. They can have fun anywhere. The kids discover the mom is an incredible artist. I'm speechless. This clip gives off the same vibe as...
Oh, wow. This is incredible.
I can't believe that kid grew up to be Lois Griffin. And fun fact about the painting Lois did, it is a real painting that was auctioned off. I wish I knew about that. I love memorabilia from silly shit. When Chris takes Brian outside because he's a dog and needs to pee, we all of a sudden hear,
"This is really nice."
Hey guys, you're gonna want to come out here.
abruptly cutting off Stewie, the music, the fear and urgency in Chris's voice, and the cut to black. Dude, the first time I watched this, my hands covered my eyes, my heart dropped all the way to my asshole. I thought the jig was up. I thought, oh my god, Brian got hit by a car, like last time.
Brian, look out!
But no, it's just a beautiful rainbow, and Chris clearly has a tone problem. He shows his emotions differently, and that's okay, because his heart is in the right place. Also, why was my husband's feelings hurt when I compared my in-laws to Eternal Family's The Family? I made sure to let him know it's not about looks at all, but they just kind of laugh at unfunny stuff, and I love that about them. And I hope they're not watching this video.
Big feelings are okay.
Haha, You Clowns is like if Full House followed 3 meathead sons instead of daughters. Full House also tends to solve problems in one episode. Big problems. DJ's eating disorder, for example, was solved just by the family saying, hey, stop that. Meanwhile, the real emotional turmoil of Haha, You Clowns is bubbling up to the surface and never fully resolved within one episode or within the whole first season. I'd argue that even with the huge setbacks and unresolved anger, it is still very wholesome because the boys are trying. I feel like the TV tropes page for this show does a good job of pointing out the boys' shortcomings, but it's a bit harsh about it. Blatant lies. Tom did not do a good job at raising his boys, as much as the boys would want him, and by extension, the audience, to believe. The boys are all dumb jocks. They all collectively panic at the slightest hint of a problem, and tend to be jerkasses towards those who aren't their father. We've never seen their behavior prior to this very new trauma, so to say he didn't raise them well feels a bit uncharitable. However, they really aren't lying in the Beware the Nice Ones section. Despite being a group of friendly himbos, they have their limits. No blatant lies there. But I think a character can be very flawed, and their effort and how much they care can still be wholesome. Before we get to their best moments, let's address the concerning behaviors. In episode 2, the boys encouraged their dad to dance on the news like the weatherman who went viral. They were enthusiastic about it, but they weren't being as pushy as the dad's coworkers. The coworkers were fully bullying him and putting him on the spot during live television. Not only that, but they were very disappointed in his dance moves. The worst thing the boys did this episode was get really frustrated at their girlfriends who were trying to teach the dad a dance. The pushiest of which is the middle child. Quite literally the pushiest.
Your shoulders, Mr. Campbell.
You look like a chicken.
All right. He's doing his best.
That pat was too strong for my liking. When their dad tripped over the boombox, they were quick to blame the girls for choosing a fast-paced song. It wasn't even that fast-paced. None of them yell, but Preston does this very exasperated, almost talking through his teeth angry voice, complete with little claps. I guess I'm just trying to understand.
Relax.
Just as the dad babies them, they also baby their dad right back. They are overcorrecting and overprotecting to the point where they are less understanding of anyone outside their family. Being more antisocial and snappier is a part of grieving no one wants to acknowledge. Luckily, they don't say anything they can't take back. No name calling, no I hate you. Even when the girls had to leave because a storm was brewing, the boys made sure to say, text us when you're home safe. This isn't to say they're in the clear, this isn't to pat them on the back too hard, like frickin' Tristan did, but I don't think they're too far gone to learn from their mistakes. It's clear they care. The creator of the show, Joe Kappa, says in an interview with Polygon, what I want the audience to understand about the boys is that they're really sweet, but they're boys and they're being influenced subtly around them. They're really into sci-fi action movies that can display a macho take on masculinity, and the way they're sometimes dismissive of their girlfriends, they're really sweet guys, but they're being influenced about how to be a man or a boy in the real world. He goes on to announce in a Reddit Ask Me Anything that we are going to learn a lot more about the girlfriends throughout the series. A real relief, because in shows centering men written by men, this dismissal often isn't an integral part of the plot or a lesson to be learned. It's just how they see women sometimes, so it's nice to hear that reassurance from the creator of Haha You Clowns that the girlfriends will take a more active role in future seasons. Right now, I just call them the girlfriends. I don't think I've heard their names. Is there any girl with a name in this series? Yeah, their dental hygienist, we'll get to it, and the neighbor, who's based on a real person. I don't talk about her at all. Her gags honestly confuse me a bit. Sean Astin of Special Agent Oso fame? The next episode was way more aggressive. Preston lost his bomber jacket. We later find out it was stolen, but for a month he didn't have it and he was raging. He bullied his elderly employee he's usually friends with, and she knows him well enough to point out the exact moment he changed and tells him straight up. He even poked her head. It was awful. This is the most painful moment of the series for me. I hated it. Preston's girlfriend also said he changed, and instead of him responding with, everything's changed, he just mutters this under his breath. You see, Casa Baja's been completely gentrified. When he finally gets his jacket back, it has a bullet hole with blood spattered on it, and they legitimately cover up the bullet hole with a patch. The perfect imagery and symbolism for how they deal with their problems. As the dad is sewing this patch, they reminisce about the significance of this jacket, and it is, of course, tied to their mom, like all things in this show are. Preston makes amends to the woman in his life he snapped at. When he was in his asshole era, he didn't straight up scream, "You're not my real mom," but he might as well have. I need to see Preston with his coworker again, because this episode needs more recovery for me personally. In episode 5, the guys threw a welcome party for their dental hygienist's new baby. The moment they heard she was in labor, they rushed to the hospital. They are so sweet to the mother and child, but they are roasting the ever-living shit out out of Jeff, who is the baby's dad and the dental hygienist's husband. It's pretty jarring. They keep doing their dorky giggle, so it's clear they think it's all in good fun, but some truth is sprinkled here and there. His gambling debt, for one. I have a theory on why they just fixate on bringing this guy down a peg. But the main focus of the episode is that Duncan, the youngest of the trio, is petrified holding the new child. While he's preparing food for the party, he cuts his thumb and sucks on it like a baby. He is used to being the baby, which is so off-putting given how he looks. But keep in mind, he's only supposed to be about 15 or 16. As always, this show takes it to the next level. Duncan faints as he's holding the kid, and Jeff saves his baby from falling. When Valerie, the dental hygienist, the mom of the newborn, tells Duncan this, she says,
Jeff actually stepped in and saved the day.
That wording. She is surprised. Look at how happy Jeff is to get praise and a kiss on the cheek. Yeah, these two were definitely working through a rough patch, and this lady vented to these teen boys about her husband. Everything they do, whether it's backed by genuine frustration or anger, will always be played off as a joke. The very beginning of episode 7 is the three guys performing at their grandma's nursing home. The fact that these brothers are in a singing trio together really exacerbates a lot of the problems in this dynamic. Duncan feeling overlooked, always forced to sing backup, Tristan not giving a shit, and Preston being the leader as always, taking it far too seriously. As they playfully point out ways they're pissed at each other, they giggle and look like they're about to beat the shit out of each other. Their father snaps and they're back to normal. Okay, that was a lot. I always wondered what the rest of this scene would look like if the dad didn't step in. Would they have fought and hurt each other, but it doesn't count because they're smiling and laughing? In the very first episode, they're worried about being apart to the point where they are seemingly never alone. The boys desperately crave individuality, but they're also scared of it because what if finding themselves means losing their family? It's codependency. It isn't particularly healthy. What I'm saying is they definitely need to be in therapy to unpack all their repressed anger. But what if I told you they are in therapy and they ended up giving therapy to their therapist? And I'm pretty pissed about it. Their usual therapist, Naz, is going on vacation, so this really toxic guy, Justin, was only temporary. But even in their regular sessions, I see red flags. Nothing wrong with family therapy, but these boys need individual therapy as well. Everyone always sees them as a group when it's clear they have their own individual needs. Even when they're talking about what they miss about their mom, they point out that she noticed the little things about each of them. No one else is fulfilling that role of thinking about the boys separately. This alone has an impact, but then we get to Justin of Empowerment. He starts by making a very uncomfortable, objectifying comment about their girlfriends, which makes them obviously very uncomfortable. This dude also relentlessly bullies their dad. Justin has daddy issues and he makes it everyone else's problem. Couldn't be me. He repeatedly texts all of the guys about how much their dad sucks. Justin is a real douchebag. His persistence, his over-attachment, the way he projects his own issues onto them, and how he runs his business, it's all beyond unprofessional. At the same time, the boys represent another extreme. They are so aware of what their dad is sensitive about, to the point where they feel bad expressing any disappointment. He fucks up their usual Thanksgiving meal, but his sons act like they don't care because they don't want to hurt his feelings. It's very thoughtful of them, but not maintainable long term.
Oh, so no turkey this Thanksgiving? Of course, Dad. Meatloaf sounds amazing. We can go to the store with you, Dad.
Even though it's very tense. Like, the first time I watched this episode, I thought they were going to deck Justin in the face. Instead, they teach Justin how to not let his own experience cloud his perception of all fathers. They tend to be the most patient with the people who deserve it the least. You'll see. Even though there are a lot of problems there, this show also isn't shy to point out how the family thrives compared to others. In the second episode that revolves around their dad's job as a meteorologist and his news team fixated on creating a viral moment, there is a tornado warning and he calls his boys. Everyone was making fun of the dad's twister dance move, but it isn't too funny now, huh? That was the deceased mom's rage for real. But anyway, this moment on the phone with his boys ended up getting millions of views. Inspiration porn type shit. One family they cut to is a little boy staring at the TV in awe as his parents fight behind him. Bro, that was me watching Full House when I was younger. I was like, wait a minute, Danny Tanner doesn't threaten to beat the shit out of his girls? Fascinating. I wasn't aware it could be like this.
Justin has daddy issues and he makes it everyone else's problem. Couldn't be me.
Ah, crap. Well, the important thing is, we are strong, we are loved.
We are strong. We are loved. We are strong. We are loved. We are strong. We are loved.
When they were on a flight, Duncan's ears popping made him bug out. And it just goes to show how even something this small feels like the end of the world without their mom. Oh, it's like what TV Tropes was saying. It escalates, it's very dramatic, the boys are scared, the dad jumps to his feet while the fasten seatbelt sign is on, scaring the whole flight. He'd do anything for his boys. They're also very physically affectionate, so it's clear they don't fully subscribe to the stereotype of masculinity. It feels like such a small detail to point out, but it's clear they're drawing a lot of attention to it and letting it linger because we don't usually see moments like this a lot in other shows. Speaking of affectionate, what really got me good was them recreating a family photo their mom took of them at the end of episode 5. After celebrating a mother and her new child, they were sentimental over when they brought Duncan home. I'm crying, this is what crying looks like. The best moment that really captured the unnerving way this show looks and sounds is also in this episode. It's when Duncan tries to make the baby laugh by making his gums dry so he could curl his lip up and the lip sticks to the gums. Then the way his lip slowly slides back down with the exact disgusting sound that would make, it makes me cackle and cringe. It's brilliant. In episode 6, the boys are throwing their dad a surprise party. Emphasis on throwing. You'll see. And this is where we meet Papa's strange ex-fraternity. The other guys kept talking sentimentally about how the dad used to go Hulk mode. In response, the dad is stabbing the cake, clearly uncomfortable thinking about who he used to be. And he's especially mortified that his sons are about to learn about the most shameful thing from his past. One of the frat bros, Brewski, from his stupid hair, his stupid mustache, and his stupid personality reminds me of Murderface from Metalocalypse to a T. This dude takes so much pride in being blackout drunk and being thrown off roofs back in the good old days. During the reveal that their dad threw this tiny menace off a roof, it was so quiet and uncomfortable. The music even swelled up to the reveal that he landed on another student. Prior to this, the boys were laughing. When they just heard Brewski was thrown off a roof, they were like, oh, this is hilarious, because consent. He wanted to be thrown off the roof for some reason, but the moment they heard that he landed on somebody just walking by, the boys were mortified. And Brewski even tries to pressure them into throwing him. Dude's a freak, but they have integrity and they refuse.
I'm not my father.
The other frat bros vouch for their dad, saying he did a complete 180 after he met their mom. You know how I feel about the woman fixing men trope, but my headcanon is that he met her, they were casually dating, and maybe she saw his frat house and was like, ew, you live like this? And started distancing herself to the point where he made those changes himself so she can see how serious he is about his own future and their relationship. But who knows, it could be more intense than that. This show doesn't completely veer away from the uncomfortable and morally gray. All we know is that their father felt so bad after injuring that foreign exchange student and accidentally sending him to the hospital that they kept in touch throughout the years, and he learned a lot about Liang's family and culture. While their father made up for his own huge mistakes, the boys extend grace to Brewski, someone they don't owe anything to. They wrote a whole letter expressing concern over his drinking problem, which inspired him to get help. From seeing Brewski in the very beginning making fun of these boys for being easily amused to calling them a derogatory homophobic word, a lot of people have probably given up on this guy, and I don't blame them. But these teen boys, with the power of high school level plucking a definition out of the dictionary ass essay writing, changed this guy's life for the better. It is hilarious and also very, very sweet. That episode that starts with them on the verge of beating each other up in the retirement home gets so off the wall they get a bacteria-ridden hot tub. This storyline has the most disgusting moments. I was gagging. From their voices holding onto a thread, it sounds so painful, to the close-up fisheye of all of them sweating, to them coughing blood, to the junk floating in the hot tub where they have their mouths open. It is a tough watch. It is burned into my brain. But they kept calling that first hot tub night the best night of their lives, just because they felt their brotherly bonding was on another level. The dialogue is once again adorable, but also disgusting. They are talking about how they're gonna raise their kids and are asking for advice. How could that be weird, Athena? They're choosing to focus specifically on whether to circumcise or not to circumcise. That is the question. Honestly, that conversation alone still isn't anything particularly shocking. It's that they categorize that as the best night of their lives. Wow. To the point where they were in the hospital, still so upset that their dad got rid of the hot tub.
It's a miracle you boys are even alive. I've already lost your mother. I can't go through that again with you boys. Oh, God damn it. Dad, it's gonna be okay.
The dad ended up softening the blow by showing the boys a video of them in the hot tub. This is their most recent cherished memory. And who am I to judge? Actually, someone should. They are terrible judges of character. In the 8th episode, they try to set their dad up with somebody they met in a Call of Duty lobby. As always, their hearts are in the right place, but they approach situations with absolutely no logic or survival skills. This is one of the few times we see their mom try to warn them from the great beyond. One of the more confusing episodes. I still cannot figure out what this lady's deal is, but I still gotta recommend it. Darshan from Boythrob is in this episode. It's a real treat. One of my favorite things about the writing of this show is that so many sentences have a double meaning.
Sometimes when you love something so badly, it's hard to see its flaws.
That's about the hot tub, but it's also most definitely about his sons as well.
It's just that all of our lives we were led to believe one thing, and then just like that, rugs ripped out from underneath our feet.
That was about them being promised a hot tub, but also it's clearly about how they didn't expect things to turn out this way with their mom's unexpected passing. It doesn't take a literary scholar to see this. It's very blatant, which is why them continuing to treat a single symptom each episode, as opposed to the root of the issue, gets increasingly frustrating to watch. But you're rooting for them, so you want to lean into the ignorant, happily ever after of it all as well, until the finale, which really goes to show just how big the conflict and inner turmoil is getting. The entirety of the finale of season 1 is middle child Tristan losing touch with reality. They already admit they use their humor, used loosely, to cope. Hence the name, Ha Ha You Clowns. That name can just as easily be read sarcastically. Oh, ha ha, you clowns. This is taken to a whole other level when Tristan joins an improv group. As expected, he's not very good at it, but he is committed. We see through his eyes, from a first-person perspective, that he is in these scenes. When he creates a scenario, he can see it clearly, including the imaginary leech he put on his dad to body shame him. The dad, who is usually very amused by their shenanigans, immediately notices that this is a problem. The level of escapism is making him less aware, destroying property, hurting people's feelings. All of this escalates to him killing Preston. I thought you said this was a feel-good show! Let me finish! Tristan sees his mom, she is his savior, and as she gets closer, he realizes she is actually his improv teacher, Todd. All of a sudden, he's back on stage. Everything we saw beyond the improv show was in his head. But in the improv mirror, we see Tristan begging to be let out. We see a handprint on the mirror, the same handprint we saw on the she shed in the first episode. His mom sees his pain even when he himself cannot, because he stares at his reflection, scared and trapped, and he cannot stop laughing. So, cute show, right? I mean, yes, but also, Watch the season 2 episodes air and I'm completely wrong about everything. Well, We'll see. Maybe that handprint isn't an affectionate mom. Maybe it is a very malicious poltergeist. I don't know. But back to the heart of both of these shows, even the pleasant exchanges are written in a way that feels so alien, so uncanny and uncomfortable. And with how common it is for humans to get in our own way and overthink basic communication, you'd think pleasant exchanges like this actually were otherworldly. I'm gonna show you my favorite TikTok of all time. Are you ready?
It's the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
I'm about to shit my pants.
What do you mean?
I, no joke, cried hearing this family laugh. A group of people you love the most bursting into laughter together, it's the best feeling in the world. And somehow there are comments mocking this video. The most perfect video on the internet has haters. Respectfully, how could you possibly mean that respectfully? I think mixing this slice of life sitcom feel with equal parts love and suspense is stupendous. And I think it's really refreshing to focus on a small cast of characters dealing with something personal as opposed to making a more broad critique of society, because often the best way to criticize something that big is to make it personal. Both Haha You Clowns and The Family reach against toxic masculinity in a way that doesn't feel like it's scolding anyone. It's just leading the way. I think shows like this are needed in a world that is so quick to tear others down, especially seeing somebody else have fun. There are just people that are like, how can I destroy the hope and joy they feel? These shows are fun, they're well done, and I want more of them. What do you think? I find it interesting how Bob's Burgers would be closer to this trope if they stuck with their original premise. The cannibal angle may have been a little too dark for looks gross out is actually wholesome, and some would even argue that the style still looks gross, but Bob's Burgers art is meant to grow on you. This is never gonna grow on you. I hope not. Ugh. As always, if you enjoyed, be sure to subscribe and like the video and hype the video. I still don't know what that does. And also, I'm gonna need you to have a great day. I do demand it after all. Bye!